Finished Kilian Jornet's Above the Clouds book. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of interesting to see things from his perspective. He actually didn't narrate the book, which is nice because if you know him and you ever heard him speak, you might not be able to understand him. But whatever. The narrator was actually pretty good as well. I was kind of interested because I follow him like through his ultra running career, and I know he does a lot of like cross country skiing and stuff like that. It was just getting to know him a little bit more, like more on a personal level, how he thinks and how he does stuff. A lot of the book did focus on more of his climbing, like different mountains and peaks. And that's what really caught my interest within the book itself. Because again, I know about him through the ultra running and some of the other things he's done, like his FKTs. So it was just kind of different to hear him talk about a different aspect of his life that I wasn't too familiar with. So I want to touch on that a little bit. It was just cool how he gets his like mind ready and figure out how he's gonna take a certain route on a mountain to climb it, the things that go through his mind as he's climbing and then descending, hanging out with his friends and relying on them a little bit while they're climbing, and some things that you might not think about if you are going to climb a mountain. There's little tidbits here or there. I always remember talking about his like using 2 pickaxes, and his one buddy wasn't using 2, it was just 1. And some of the like the trials and tribulations that he had through climbing different mountains, which is pretty neat to hear. Because when you're in a sport like that, not everything's going to go perfectly, and you're going to have a bunch of failures. Weather conditions play huge roles and stuff like that when you're climbing mountains, especially the ones that he does. Maybe if you're in the United States and you're just doing a couple of little rock faces or something like that, maybe it's not a big deal. When you're in Europe and those type of places like the Alps and Everest, weather plays a huge factor, and sometimes it may take you weeks to even get a chance to take an attempt on a mountain, not just finish it, but just even to be able to start. And you just hear him go through that process a little bit, which is really awesome to hear. Like, I was excited about it. I'm not gonna lie. There was like 1 or 2 spots that I did get lost within the book itself, but for the most part, it kept my attention pretty good. Like, I remember the one part he was talking about finding a body and getting it like airlifted out, because they had, some of those like Everest and stuff, people die trying to attempt it, and you really can't just portage people out freely. So you have to, like, weather conditions again play a factor. So when you find a body, you report it, and if you can, try to take it down the mountain as much as possible where like a helicopter authorities could find it. So that was just interesting to hear about that aspect of things. That was just one of those things that really did stick out a little bit. And when the other thing was talking about his failures and attempts, like, he just seems like a free-spirited guy. I know he, any competitor's not going to really like to fail, but he understands that failure is part of the process. And like with mountain climbing and stuff like that, just knowing he knows that he's going to fail and not everything is going to go perfectly, so he sets himself up for that. And he goes through those times where, hey, this didn't work out this day because of this or that. So it was just interesting to hear that. Then he did touch about his ultra running and some of his like mental mindsets, and having his family always like back him, and a good support system at home. And I remember the one time he was doing a mountain, he just had a spot track or something and it was going goofy, and he was worried that his wife would get worried a little bit, not having contact or knowing where he's at, but everything worked out in the end. I don't know, just from my experience, you know, what I knew about him beforehand, he seems like a very down-to-earth guy. Like, he loves his competition and he loves competing, whether it's like his skiing. I think his skiing's his thing over ultra running, but he does love to compete, you know, but he doesn't really care about winning per se. I mean, he wants to win and he likes to win, but he's not tied to it with his personality. That's not who he is. Like he even said at the end of the book, the last couple minutes, how he gives his awards away to like random children or hotel owners that places that he stays at, or donates them here or there, or his grandfather or whatever. So he's not all about his competition and what that all is about. Because again, he's just like a down-to-earth guy that just, I guess, put it frankly, loves to be active, loves to be outdoors, loves the sports that he participates in, and he's thankful that he's able to, you know, run, mountain climb, do his cross-country skiing stuff. So it's just one of those books that, if you know anything about Kilian Jornet, you'll just give another real perspective on his life and how he handles himself and sees things through his eyes. To me, he's one of my favorite ultra runners to follow, and to me, he's one of the world's best that ever stepped foot on earth. He's a hell of a sky runner, so I do follow him a little bit. Just sometimes when he speaks, you can't really understand him too well with his like broken English, but it's just fun to follow him because he is so good, and he's just a good representative of the ultra running community. But I don't know him through his like skiing and his mountain climbing that much, so got to know him a little bit more through this book. So Above the Clouds is definitely a good book to listen to. Like, I don't know about reading it. Again, it's an audiobook, but I just think hearing it and getting to know him a little bit more and like in depth, the book brought it out a little bit more. Maybe because I'm intrigued by him more in general than like some of the other books that I listen to, but I don't think you'll be disappointed, and I think it really is a good read or listen. I would say listen to it because I think the narrator had one of those voices that isn't overwhelming, and actually read the book pretty well, so you're not going to get frustrated with it a little bit at all, just because he speaks in that a tone and does mix it up just a little bit. Yeah, I would check it out. If you like Kilian at all, I would say you're going to love the book. If you don't know him at all, it's still a good book. Hear like some mindset things and how like he, like an elite athlete, thinks about like failure and how like his laid back personality, I think, actually makes him succeed more. So if you get a chance, listen to it and let me know what you think.